Hello, and welcome to the WatchGuard Endpoint Security Training on Sales Use Cases. I'm Tracy Hillstrom, Vice President of Marketing Content Experience and Strategy, and I'll be your host as we dive into some of the most common ways that our partners have positioned our products to win the deal. Having already learned about the endpoint security market drivers in the first training lesson, and having gotten an introduction to the WatchGuard products in the second lesson, we'll now look at how to position the products to address the needs of specific accounts. During this presentation, we'll review the various reasons why customers seek out next-generation endpoint security, how to spot ideal security customers, how to match an endpoint security solution with the specific needs of an opportunity. This is a high-level overview of this subject to fit within a 20 to 30-minute time frame. However, there are longer presentations available outside of this training path that dive deeper into the sales qualification and specific plays for endpoint security. Please feel free to reach out to your account team to arrange for more training on this topic if you find that you're looking for more. Since we are all professionals delivering security solutions, I know that we've experienced the cybersecurity maturity model in real life. And so we should also expect individual accounts to be maturing in their endpoint security approaches. Considering a prospect's endpoint security maturity may factor significantly in what kind of solution that you choose to offer and how you decide to pitch it. With regards to endpoint security, you might notice that organizations in Phase 1 would point to their AV solution that came with the device operating system or a consumer-grade AV solution deployed when asked about their approach to securing their endpoints. By the time they reach Phase 2, they realize that they need greater ability to manage and report on endpoint security from a common platform, and they have recognized a need for stronger protection, causing them to move to business-grade AV or endpoint protection platform products. By Phase 3, companies are likely now executing a plan to upgrade their security over time, and so implementing endpoint detection and response products and practices. As they make progress against their plan, businesses are anxious to upgrade their solutions with the latest security capabilities, including managed technology services, automated remediation, and detailed reporting for compliance and continuous improvement. I'm sure that you have found that you need to optimize your solutions to meet and progress your clients through the maturity model, starting with entry-level packages and moving to full features offerings. WatchGuard's endpoint security products have been designed to support your full range of products. As an extensible suite of endpoint security products that are cloud-based and deployed with a single lightweight agent and common management platform, so that it's easy for you to add your services and customize your packages for each stage of the maturity model. Since we can't cover every sales use case in this session, we'll focus on the most ideal ones. In these cases, the account can be at any level of the maturity model, but we'll assume that they have already progressed beyond the awareness phase of their buyer's journey. This means that they've had some experience or exposure that has caused them to realize that they have a gap or shortfall in their security solution. Maybe they experienced a breach or know someone who has. The driver might otherwise be a significant change in their business, such as a hiring surge, a merger, opening a new location, a move to hybrid workplace, etc., that is possibly introducing additional risks. Also, sometimes the motivation for change is less about security and more about implementing a solution that drives greater operational efficiency. Finding qualified IT staff has caused businesses to scrutinize how a new security services might impact workloads, and it's become a prioritized factor when considering new or upgraded systems. Whether it's a new prospect or existing customer that's considering a change, it's now time to match up and pitch this motivated account with an endpoint solution that best addresses their use case, so that they progress through their consideration and decision buyer's journey stages and convert as an opportunity that's closed won. Considering the ideal customer profiles from the last slide, we will now look at these three categories of use cases that you could reasonably associate to them, including use cases to address a security gap, those that support a client's desire to address operational issues, and those that are founded in regulatory compliance. Notice in particular the variety of use cases that make up the security gap category. IT security is a hot topic. It's in the news frequently, and it's consistently related as the top concern for IT leaders in published surveys. As a result, while your approach as a salesperson may not change much for each use case, you will discover the needs and requirements and then pitch an endpoint security solution designed to solve them in a differentiated way. You'll find that the account will describe their use case in their own way. We've decided to go 100% remote, and I don't know how I can trust my employees to protect themselves at home. This is an enable hybrid work environments use case. My boss has been talking with his peer group he belongs to, and he's convinced that we need to implement a default deny posture. This is a zero trust framework use case. The use cases to improve operations are pretty straightforward and easy to decipher. And the same is true for compliance-driven use cases. However, I'll say that while one use case is typically highest priority, it's very common to hear requirements in 2 or even all 3 areas while doing discovery, which is why asking clarifying questions to determine priority is critical to correctly and creatively responding to each use case. Next, we'll take a look at each category and share some keys to success. Use cases that correspond to addressing security gaps are the most common, especially with small to mid-sized businesses. Not that long ago, these companies were not a lucrative target for cybercriminals, and so while the largest organizations were seeking and deploying more sophisticated security, small to mid-sized businesses lagged in security maturity and instead spent IT budgets on systems and solutions needed to support their growth. Suddenly, those crafty cybercriminals found easy ways to make attacks on smaller businesses lucrative, like with ransomware attacks. And these companies had to quickly deploy new security solutions to increase protection. Catching up was made more difficult for smaller businesses because they generally have few IT professionals and often lack people with security expertise. This is where managed security providers have become a lifesaver, enabling businesses to run more advanced security while outsourcing the management and security expertise so that it's not a burden on their small IT team. Whether selling endpoint security as a project-based deliverable or a managed service, IT solution providers clearly need an extensible platform of technologies on which they can build solutions to meet any end customer's security use case. WatchGuard's base endpoint security products offer our partners a scalable approach to clients needing to upgrade their security posture. WatchGuard EPP centralizes next-generation antivirus for all Windows, Mac OS, and Linux desktops, laptops, and servers, in addition to the leading virtualization systems and Android devices. As a business-grade solution, it centrally manages the security of endpoints both inside and outside the corporate network. WatchGuard EPP is the answer for accounts in the early phases of the maturity model who are looking to upgrade from traditional signature-based AV. Additionally, it's a great option for accounts that already have an EDR in place and wish to replace their AV provider as the contract expires. Maybe they really like their EDR supplier, or the contract timeframes just don't align. But selling WatchGuard EPP makes for a great land and expand strategy for these kinds of customers. While this solution provides traditional EPP services, it also offers extra protection based on our collective intelligence that elevates its effectiveness well beyond other similar products. In this way, while our EPP customers aren't getting the EDR advantages that come from 100% classification and threat hunting, they get to benefit from the discovery of zero-day and advanced threats found in our WatchGuard EDR and WatchGuard EPDR installed base. Once that information is added into our collective intelligence, then our EPP solutions will block it. WatchGuard EDR was built to provide complete visibility to endpoints and servers by monitoring and spotting malicious activity that bypasses traditional solutions, and as such, It's a perfect offering for accounts in Phase 3 and above of the maturity model. WatchGuard EDR installs on top of existing AV solutions to add a full stack of EDR capabilities, which means that it's great for customers needing to upgrade security beyond what AV provides without displacing their existing AV vendor. Additionally, accounts looking to consolidate from 2 vendors to 1, but where only the EDR contract is ending, they can get started right away with WatchGuard EDR and convert to WatchGuard EPDR later. When competing against competitive solutions, you want to be sure to describe the benefits from the 2 services as features included with WatchGuard EDR, including our Zero Trust Application Service, which provides 100% classification of the applications, and our Threat Hunting Service that detects hackers and insider threats. We've already discussed these 2 services in earlier training lessons, but given the strong benefit that is above and beyond what competitors provide, we'll do a quick review during the next 2 slides. Our Zero Trust Application Service is included at no charge with each WatchGuard EDR and EPDR license. Other EDR solutions typically allow for some portion of applications to be classified as unknown, where the burden is then put on the customer to determine whether to allow the unknown items or not, and then potentially reduce user productivity when legitimate ones are blocked. With WatchGuard, our Zero Trust Application Service classifies 100% of DLL files, applications, and executables as good or malware, and only the good items continue to the endpoint. This 4-step process here shows how we do this, and illustrates how we've trained our machine learning system such that 99.98% of processes are quickly and automatically classified in the cloud for a fast response at the endpoint. Any company that's considering a zero trust default deny architecture, either now or in the future, cannot tolerate any unknown classification, which is why this service is essential for progressing to the highest levels of security maturity. Endpoint detection and response also needs to include the ability to find and remove hackers and malware that's made it past even the strongest defenses. This is where the Threat Hunting Service contributes to customer security. With the continuous monitoring of endpoints enabled by deployed agents, our threat hunting team examines the event telemetry to spot malicious activity and suspicious behavior. When they find evidence of a validated breach, our cybersecurity team notifies the customer, and they feed our systems with new or improved indicators of attack that can help to block hackers before any damage is done. When an account is addressing a security gap and wants a complete endpoint security solution, then WatchGuard EPDR is the answer. WatchGuard EPDR is the product package that includes both our WatchGuard EPP and EDR products in a single SKU. This is a great option for customers that want to replace AV and add EDR with one deployment. It's also the answer for existing WatchGuard EPP and EDR customers who want to move up to the complete solution. Furthermore, we'll often lead with WatchGuard EPDR, especially when accounts are not especially tolerant to the initial discovery questions. Given that the WatchGuard EPDR pitch allows you to sell both the advanced EPP and EDR solutions and their differentiators, means that you can learn more from their questions and reactions in order to fine-tune the product package to one that will best address their requirements. WatchGuard EPDR is the best endpoint security product for customers looking to deploy with the Zero Trust framework because of its unique capabilities that block unknown malicious objects or unclassified files, and especially those that can initiate an attack at the endpoint without needing any end-user interaction. Defense in depth has been declared a security best practice by cybersecurity experts for years, and so it should be no surprise that it's considered the best approach for endpoint security too. It's these layers of protection that are built in with the EPDR solution that offer the best ability to block the most threats, including those using the latest evasion techniques. This is an example of how WatchGuard's layered approach to endpoint security plays out during a ransomware attack. You see the very recognizable cyber kill chain phases at the bottom. These are the steps to make it from initial infiltration to payoff for a cyber criminal. Above that, you see the mechanisms by which WatchGuard EPDR can block the attack at each phase. You will notice many of the same effective product features that we've been talking about since the start of this training, including the most basic protection with email AV signatures and URL filtering, to the most advanced techniques, ones that we've honed over 30 years of protecting endpoints, including advanced heuristics, classification with Zero Trust Application Service, threat hunting services, and fast responses to new threats with collective intelligence. When pitching to customers that have the Zero Trust use case, emphasizing the collective EPP and EDR coverage for defense in depth with WatchGuard EPDR, and showing how it all comes together to combat an attack, like in this diagram, can be especially useful for winning the deal. For accounts that are in the advanced phases of the security maturity model and striving for even more protection from a Zero Trust implementation, the WatchGuard Passport Bundle is a stellar option. Not only do they get the full protection from WatchGuard EPDR endpoint security, but it's packaged with other related WatchGuard products that work together to secure devices and their users, whether inside or outside the trusted network. WatchGuard's AuthPoint multi-factor authentication service is managed alongside our endpoint solutions in the WatchGuard Cloud platform and features a fully cloud-based implementation that can be deployed with both mobile and hardware tokens for fast and easy authentication at scale. DNSWatch Go is a DNS-level protection that blocks connections with ports and domains with suspicious behaviors. Together, the Passport technologies collaborate to offer strong protection to an increasing mobile workforce who are performing essential job functions outside of environments protected by firewalls. We talked about this package as a leapfrog to a stronger Zero Trust position than when considering just endpoint security solutions. But this is also a powerful combination of security technologies to present to the many companies who are looking at how to bring enterprise-grade security to employees who are working from home. This chart shows some of the attack vectors that remote workers are more susceptible to, and then indicates which of the individual products offer features to protect from these common threats. Up to this point, we've been looking at how to position WatchGuard endpoint security to address common sales situations when customers already have a sense that they have a security gap. This isn't the only reason that companies consider deploying our products. In many cases, it's not even the primary driver. A company could be well aware that these are essential security solutions and may have already deployed it or felt prohibited by the fear that their IT staff will become overwhelmed by excess alerts or regular maintenance actions. Many businesses are having trouble finding skilled cybersecurity staff, which only increases the hesitation to implement new security technologies. And even when end users decide to outsource IT security to a managed service provider, well, then you are solving the problem for them, but let's face it, you're also not likely to deploy a solution that will negatively impact efficiency and increase your bottom line. So, we need to make sure that we can describe and position the ways in which WatchGuard's endpoint security products improve security operations. And this is where consolidation, intelligence, automation come together to create a simple, scalable, and deployable solution. Out-of-control alerts are a common concern in organizations striving for more efficient security operations. Organizations receive thousands of weekly malware alerts, of which only 19% are considered trustworthy, and only 4% of which are ever investigated. 2/3 of cybersecurity administrators' time is dedicated to managing malware alerts. What's more, some EDR solutions, far from solving anything, create greater stress and increase security administrators' workloads by delegating the responsibility for managing alerts to staff and forcing them to manually classify threats. WatchGuard EDR and EPDR are different. With 100% classification, little is left for staff to take action on. Added staff work also comes in the form of multiple deployments across endpoints when one should suffice, and when endpoint security solutions consume too many of the onboard resources, resulting in an increase in the number of slow computer calls into the help desk and negatively impacting employee performance. Our endpoint solutions are implemented with a single lightweight agent, where most of the heavy lifting is performed in the cloud, so that there is little to no impacts to device performance. Better yet, all of the modules and options are installed with the agent, so activating a new feature or capability can happen without redeploying it. In fact, here are some of the specifications for our agent, demonstrating what exactly we mean when we say lightweight. These are great statistics to use with accounts that have a use case founded in operational improvement. Accounts looking for operational benefits will also need to hear that everything is managed from one cloud-based management platform. Staff can't be expected to continually shift between management platforms in order to monitor and execute security actions. Also, these accounts no longer wish to manage a hardware-based management solution on-premise. This is just extra work, and instead, the market expectation is that the solution providers host the management platform in the cloud. The WatchGuard Cloud story is a powerful one for accounts striving for operational excellence. Not only is it one cloud-based platform for managing endpoint security, but it's the single platform in which most of our portfolio of security solutions are managed, including network security, MFA, and more. In addition to a strong hosted management platform in WatchGuard Cloud, our endpoint security solutions also offer APIs and integrations with ecosystem partners for the highest levels of automation. Our APIs and ecosystem connectivity can optimize operations with unified dashboards, custom reports, scaled deployments using RMM and other tools, and automated response actions and ticket generation, to name a few. For accounts looking to address operational issues, sharing these many opportunities to reduce burdens on their limited staff with effective security, a lightweight agent, a single management platform, and access to APIs and ecosystem integrations will help to progress the opportunity more quickly to a win. The final category of use cases are for companies who are primarily driven to endpoint security solutions as the result of a compliance initiative. There have been an increasing number of comprehensive data security and privacy regulations passed in recent years, and even as new legislation is passed, the older regulations get updated and expanded to require even more stringent security policies and programs. As a result, most companies need to comply with some regulation or another, with some of the more common ones shown here, including GDPR, which applies to every company in EMEA or who sells products to EU customers. PCI DSS, which applies to companies who accept credit cards for payment. HIPAA, which applies to hospitals and healthcare facilities that keep or process patient records. And Sarbanes-Oxley, called SOX for short, which applies to publicly traded companies. There are even more when you consider the laws and guidance published in Brazil, Australia, and even the state of California in the United States. The reality is that companies should have a consistent practice of understanding and upgrading their policies and technologies to achieve and remain compliant. but we often still see organizations work towards compliance on a project basis, and so this may become the primary use case in a sales opportunity. In general, when pitching WatchGuard endpoint security solutions to address regulatory compliance, you're going to need to get into the details of each regulation's requirements. While we don't have the time to do that here, there is a white paper on regulations that can be all or in part addressed with endpoint security solutions, and it does get into the specific requirements for the most wide-reaching regulations that we encounter. I think that this is also an opportunity to engage the account on a more systemic approach to compliance, and WatchGuard's unified security platform is a great entry point to help frame that conversation. WatchGuard is in the process of building our unified security platform. This is our vision of what security must become in order to effectively handle the risks and opportunities of our next networking age. We know that, starting now, effective security must be driven from one assured source of identity across all technologies deployed. The system needs to know, for certain and without doubt, who the user is and what their permissions are, and this understanding needs to permeate throughout the unified security platform. Furthermore, security technologies need to operate in concert by sharing telemetry and cooperating to learn what this means for security and response actions throughout the platform. We know that automation needs to be designed into the platform from the ground up so that it's scalable and so that the security system, and not the people, are able to handle the increasing volume and complexity of attacks. And of course, we've already talked about this, but we need for cybersecurity professionals to operate from one management interface. Executing on this vision takes more than just lining up technologies so that they report from one place. A true unified security platform is about creating a sense of teamwork between the security services, systems, devices, and users, so that each knows how to operate in concert with other members of the team for successful security outcomes. Our customers, and you, our partners, will ultimately see the benefits listed here as we continue to build out our unified security platform. As the system takes on the hard work of making sense of individual data points and taking global actions as appropriate, you are left only to add the kind of high-value input that can only come from humans. This is the way security is meant to work: simplified, secured, automated, connected, and insightful. While we know that this is the future of cybersecurity, it just so happens that it's also what's needed to implement systemic compliance, which is why it's a great topic of conversation for this use case. If you can share the story of this vision so that the customer can picture the next iteration of security practice and see themselves in it, then you will have a customer for life. Well, we've reached the end of this training on endpoint security sales use cases. As I promised in the beginning, we kept this at a pretty high level, and so you should feel free to chat with your account representative if you'd like to go into greater detail on endpoint sales plays. We intended to help you understand how to apply our products to the three main categories of use cases, and shared which differentiators might be the most relevant when pitching the products. Overall, you've seen the extensibility of our product line in action. We have the core pieces put together such that they enable you to assemble them into a perfect solution that best fits your customers' individual needs. This concludes this training session, and I hope that it's provided a great foundation on endpoint security use cases. Thank you for your time and attention.